tooth decay or a stomach ache, or to that extent. Um, Same thing, I can say that my first days on the trading floor were same thing. Boy, I'm going to watch this and watch this and watch this, and then like eventually, as as time went on, it's like, you know what, I don't need to watch that market anymore. Let me watch these three, and then it was down to two, and it was down. You know what? Let me focus on the one, and that's when it was like, now I'm doing my best. Might not be the excitement day at times. But the thing is, I was worried about control and
Mm.
focus. And, I mean, just common sense. It's going to help you out a lot more once you master that one market. You can give yourself 100% effort, towards the one market. You're going to have to break things down. Now, in your opinion, talking about importance in success, what's the most important factor for finding success in trading that you can share with us?
I think at the beginning I was kind of pissed off at all the rules that Topsteptrader had, and I was coming from a field where I've had my own futures account, and I was more comfortable losing more than maybe I should. I started physically in about a year ago, I guess, here with Topsteptrader. I looked at it a couple years prior to that, but I think the overriding thing that I appreciate now is the Top Step Trader trading rules, specifically the max daily loss. Yeah, I hated that max daily loss to start with. I was trading the $10,000 funded account or combine to start with when I first tried it out, and I kept hitting that $300 loss, and that just would piss me off. I go take a run and go kick the dog. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't actually do that, but it it was tough. And then I had to talk with several of the traders in the room, and even at the staff there at Top Step Trader, and they talked to me about, why don't you increase your from 10 go up to the 30K? And I thought, well, all right. And I didn't really want to, but I thought, if I'm going to make this work, I need to listen to the people that have been here. So I went up to the 30K account, and then that extra $200 really helped me, and it helped me get through the combine and through the funded trader prep. So I think the max daily loss, and specifically, I become a lover of the trading rules inside Top Step Trader.
Awesome.
Well, good. Yeah, these they are there, and they will help. I know, it can get frustrating, but they're so important to be able to limit that risk. Um, you've already given a lot of good advice. You've got some really good experience. We're really excited to have you on the funded trading team, and looking forward to seeing you doing well. We always ask this question, and uh, maybe it's a hard one, maybe it's easy, maybe you're ready for it. But if you had one piece of advice to the participants here in this community, what would it be?
Well, I what's helped me the most as a trader, and especially in the combine, is the concept of taking more on your wins than you do on your losses. In other words, to always try. I know that you're not trying to hit those home runs. You're trying to get those singles and doubles. That's a really good point that I can't go. And occasionally, I will hit a home run in my combine. I mean, on a day, but most of the time, I'm just trying to make it through the trading day. Try either singles or doubles. Those really make the difference. But on the long run, I think it was definitely taking more on the wins. Meaning in this case, the ticks. And along those lines, I think the quicker that you can disassociate dollars and ticks, the better off that you're going to be. In other words, when I started thinking in terms of ticks instead of thinking in terms of dollars, my trading performance really increased. I stopped worrying about how much money I'm losing. I started thinking about how many ticks and not worrying about how many ticks, even if it was 2 ticks that I would win on a day. That's fine. I didn't care. Obviously, I knew it's $20 in the crude oil market, but I had to take away the dollar amount and make it a tick type of thing. And as long as I guess that helped. And then inside the combine, there's a really cool thing, or not in the combine itself, just inside Top Step Trader, they got this journal thing that you can use. And if you're not taking advantage of that journal, I'd highly recommend using screencast, going over your trade setups, and really know exactly what your trade entry is. But really, before you even enter the trade, I believe you got to know your exit. So I also know where I'm comfortable of getting out of a trade before I even enter the trade. I don't know if that makes sense, but and I'm always trying to take more out of the market than I'm willing to lose.
All right, like that.
Yeah, that's always, always keep the math on your side. If you're trading 2 to 1, 3 to 1 reward over risk, and you drop below 50% winning trades, you're still going to make money. That's the way to do it. Limit the risk. That's the only thing you can truly control. Like you said, you're shooting for your singles and doubles, but once in a while, you're going to hit that big one. You're going to hit a good trade, and you're going to hit, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 times your risk on the trade. And those are great. You can't count on them all the time, but as long as you're consistently earning, uh, keeping that math on your side, keeping those winners bigger, you're going to do okay.
Agreed.
All right, so I think that's it for Jonathan and myself. We're going to move over to the Squawk Radio Room, and we've got some questions. T-Bad is
Mhm.
going to lead it off here. What's your entry method, and what indicators do you now use?
Uh, I believe in three. Volume. Volume is the leading indicator for me. I look at and I take my trades off of. I have three physical charts on my trading station. I have a 15-minute chart, I have a 5-minute chart, and then I have a tick chart that I use, a 89 tick chart on the crude oil that I use to help me make my trading decisions. The most specific thing that I use is volume, and I believe in. I call them the three V's of trading. I believe in volume, velocity, and volatility. You have to have all three of those to make the trade. And what I guess why I like the tick chart over all the other charts is that a 5-minute period on a bar chart or a candlestick always looks the same. But if you have a 5-minute tick chart going, you can have a lot of bars in that same 5 minutes. And you'll see, and that also means how quick the market's moving as well. So if you only have like maybe two printed things inside 5 minutes on a tick chart, you know the market's not moving very fast right then. But if you have 100 of them in the same 5 minutes, then that tick chart it becomes a lot more valuable. Tick chart has been a great help for me.
All right, Sean's got a question for you. What was your or is your biggest fear? Fear of missing
Hmm.
out, fear of loss, fear of disappointment, fear of not being correct? If so, how did you overcome or manage these fears?
Well, my biggest fear is also my biggest weakness. I like to get it back. So knowing I hate to lose, so I'm like most traders in this arena. We come in and we're trying to be perfectionists, and being a knowing that my greatest weakness is also can be a strength at the same time. That also kicks up against that max daily loss. Knowing that as long as I keep under that max daily loss, I can stop that greatest weakness, only also my greatest fear, because I know that I will try to get it back. And knowing that ahead of time and having the trading rules that have been established, it's a great help for me. It's kind of like, I guess, for lack of a better term, it's a crutch. It's a just something that you can go back and it's there, and it's kind of like someone has your back, and I like that.
Right. Sean's got a second question. When you were trading different markets early on, did you have different setups for each market, or did you try to apply the same strategy to every market?
It was pretty much the same strategy, and I'd get multiple signals inside. And when I first started day trading, I was looking at a 15-minute chart, and I'd get multiple signals. I would see wheat would give me a signal, then gold, and then the E-mini Dow, the E-mini to try to basically. I would still try to only have one market per. So in other words, one energy market, one metals market, one grain market, one bond market, and so forth and so on. But you would get multiple signals. But I used the same signals to give me, and it would pop on my screen, hey, here's your trade setup. And I would just enter the trade. And it worked, like I said before, when it works positively, it can be awesome. But the double edged sword of that, when you get a negative day, you'll accumulate losses very quickly.
All right, Connor has got a question. He's saying that I noticed on your combine results that you've had some large winning days. for the size of your account. Can you comment on that trading and how you keep holding on to those winners?
Okay, well, if you look at the combine itself, I think I won that combine on trading day 7. And then the last 3 days, I knew that I already won it. So I was pretty much in protect so I could move forward into FTP. So with that being said, how I held on to my winners is I have a trailing stop that moves behind it. I believe in a concept that I read from Van K. Tharp. He talks about R, meaning risk. And then I defined what I believe R is. And so that also combined to another concept that I believe that I call P for profit, R for risk. And that also goes back to taking more away than I'm going to willing to lose you, Connor. So what I try to do on any given setup is I have a profit target. And I guess lack of better way of saying it, Gann came up with this concept of the square of 9. I'm a firm believer in 3, 6, 9, 12. Market moves in wave like patterns, like Ralph Elliott talks about back from the past. But since the market moves in waves, I'm expecting the market to come back, and I'm also expecting the market to, if I'm in a good trade, it's going to continue to move forward. And then behind that, I on my 89 tick chart, I run with a 200 bar SMA, simple moving average, that helps me try to stay in a trade. Occasionally, I'm able to it'll be a nice trending 200 bar, and it will never go under it. It'll never go over it if you're on a long or if you're in a short, and it helps me stay in the trade. And then along those lines, I try not to. I like to move up as quickly as humanly possible to break even, but outside of break even, I'd like to see the market make like what I would call a 3P target, or at least that area, or at least reach more than what I'm willing to lose in any given trade. So I get where I believe the average range of where I believe, in this case, the crude oil market's going to move in any given day. So I use my spreadsheet and calc that out every day.
All right, Legion X has got a question. Why the name Trade Craze?
Because I'm not crazy, but my my family thinks that trading is just insane type of business to start with, and they could never understood why I liked it. When I was younger, I always laughed about it, but my dad's since passed away about, I guess, 12 years now. But when I was a younger guy, I always would joke with my mom and dad. I said, if I go belly up, I'm just moving in with you guys. And my dad says, "You're a nut." And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm not crazy. I just kind of have a craze. I like I love trading." And then that's kind of how the two words got together, trade and craze. And so I say I'm not a crazy trader. I just like to trade. It's been my craze. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how the name got stuck.
All right. WX Sim is asking, what will be your approach at your funded account on your first 10 trading days and keeping the account above zero? What's your approach?
Once again, I think the biggest thing that you have to do, hopefully I said this at least 2 times, if not more. You've got to take more away on your wins than you do on your losses. I mean, for instance, like today, if I was trading today, I would be looking at a minimum 25 ticks versus 11 tick stop loss. So, and if you think of that in itself, I could take 2 losing trades and 1 winning trade and still break even on the day. So I hopefully maybe that helps. So 25 ticks, 11 ticks. So 11 tick losers, I got 22, and I still got a 3 tick winner if I would take that third one to a break even. So I firmly believe that you got to put, like Mr. Hoagland said, you got to put the math on your side.
All right. And last question from Bobby. Bobby's asking a question. Are you completely satisfied with your approach to trading, or do you keep trying to learn new things? Every time I try to learn new things, I seem to get too much going in my brain. How about you?
I feel very confident in what I believe now. I've tried just about everything out there as far as indicators go, and I am a firm believer that you got to try to keep it simple. Um, I like for me personally, it ends up being I have volume on my chart. I've got one momentum indicator, and I've got my candlesticks in here, and I'm pretty much looking for. It's funny how it's kind of come back to full circle, but I'm really looking at a wave type of pattern to get into a trade. But even with that, I've got to keep very specific targets and set. So in other words, if the pivot point's in my way of taking a trade, I won't take that trade. So, this discretionary trader that's part of us. So I guess I try to keep it simple. Take as Do not overload your platform with so many different things that you get what's called paralysis from analysis. So that was me in the past. I would have so many things going, and I'd have false signal here and a positive signal there, and eventually I just got down to just trying to keep it very simple. One momentum indicator. I have volume on my charts and the candlesticks, and that's pretty much it. That's how I try to take my trades.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being with us here today. And Jonathan?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the great interview. And again, we're looking forward to seeing you succeeding and continuing to drill.
Thank you so much.
And don't forget, the Squawk Radio Room is always open to you because you're such a great person to have here. So keep it up.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, man. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, by the way.
Oh.
Yes. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. It's Monday. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You just try to get me off the phone. No. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Shout out. Time. It's your shout out. I'm going to put you center stage, hand you the microphone, and you're up.
Thank you. This room has been the environment that we have here at Topsteptrader. If you're not taking advantage of the knowledge that's in here, with Hoagland's classes to Trader Sean, Dante in the room. There's so many guys that I've listened to and gals in the room that has helped me grow as a trader. Even though I have the experience, I still have the weaknesses that most of us have. And without them, hey, it's okay, keep your head up, stuff like that. They're always there whenever I'm having a bad day to be able to vent, and then someone's there to pick me up again. And granted, not everything's positive, and I failed. I can't tell you how many combines I failed before I finally got through it. But they kept my head above water, and I kept moving forward. Along those lines, my wife and my kids. My wife's a hairstylist. She is on a commission type of environment, and she understands what trading's about. Trading isn't easy. If it was, everybody would do it. So I think they said it better than I did. Trading's the hardest way to make an easy buck. So that's kind of, I appreciate everybody that's been in this room and helped me, and you, Eddie. It's good to hear your voice every day, and Viraj on the line. There's so many people, but long story short, I just very appreciative of this opportunity here at Topsteptrader, and I'm so thankful. Thank you.
Thank you. It's beautiful. And, I'm really happy that you're happy with us. It's a good thing. It's a great relationship. But success to you. All the blessings. And let's do it. What do you say?
That sounds good to me. Thank you so much for your time today.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, that does my trading interview there, and eventually I guess it'll be up with Topsteptrader on their website, and then I'll just kind of flow that together into what I'm doing here. All right, I'm out of here. That's all I have to say today. It's been great. So thank you. I missed the very first part of the end. Oh, by the way, there was 4 minutes, I believe, that we missed on the interview. Pretty much I talked about trading places, the 1983 movie, how I got started with Ken Roberts years ago. They asked me about how's my journey been like, and I talked about the School of Hard Knocks is how I started, just having to pick up the pieces all the time, and then eventually I got to where I started putting 2 and 2 together to really make 4, and the trading rules at Top Step Trader. That's probably been the most important thing, taking away more on your wins than you're willing on your losses. So I missed the first 4 minutes. I meant to have it my thing going, but I forgot to push the unpause button on my trading platform that I was using. So I do apologize that the first 4 minutes were cut out on this interview, but they'll be on there when they upload it onto the Top Step Trader website inside YouTube, and then I'll be able to put that together so you can hear the whole interview all together in its entirety. It's Dave Knight, Trade Craze out. Talk to you later. Bye now.